Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing UI UX foundation course. When you hear the word UI and UX, what comes to your mind? And for I know I have a lot of people that are currently want to get into UI and UX. I'm going to be breaking down what UI is, what UX is, and the difference in UI and UX. In my next video, we're going to talk about UX, user experience, that involves storyboards, like the whole process you carry out in user experience. So when I talk about UX, we'll be doing that. I'll be talking about that later. And so we're going to also be doing practical classes as well. So are you ready? UI means user interface. So think of user interface as, let's use a website for example. If you're currently on a website, you are going to be seeing animations, you are going to be seeing different colors, typography, that's the font. You are going to be seeing the buttons, the call to action buttons, and icons, and all that. UI refers to how a digital product looks like and how it feels, all the visual elements a user interacts with on a screen. So as I've said earlier, examples of UI elements are buttons, icons, sliders, text fields, navigation bars, colors, fonts, and spacing. So the goal of a UI is to ensure that the product is visually appealing. It could be website, it could be car, it could be machine, anything. But the goal of the UI, that is the beauty of whatever the product is, to ensure that it is visually appealing, it is useful, right? It is nice. You know, when you land on a website, the way the website looks might discourage you from continuing on that website. So the way a website looks, or when you want to buy a car, the way a car looks, especially for the female gender, the way it looks can actually discourage you from buying that particular car, even before you check the functionality. Just the way it looks at times might disqualify you, that I don't really like the way this car look, or can you change the color? I love this kind of color. Do you understand? Have you ever come across a website that is very uh difficult? You do not see a call to action. You're on a website and you are looking for a call to action, you do not see it. So, user interface of a product as well, as I said earlier, to be visually appealing, easy to navigate, consistent across all screens, aligned with the brand. You understand? You know, when you see Apple products, you obviously know because of the way the user interface is, right? So also when you are, for example, the UI of a product, of a website, if you are using a rounded button, you have to be so consistent with it. It has to be uniform. You cannot use a rounded button for the home page and the about us page. You're using a rectangle. It has to be uniform. So that is UI. Think of UI as if an app or a car, as I've said earlier. The UI will be the steering wheel, the dashboard layout, the gear stick, the colors, the textures, and even icons inside and all that. So the UI is what the users see and touch. So a good UI design is clear, no confusion about where to click, is responsive, works well on these different screen sizes. You know, when you create a website, right? So you create a mobile responsiveness. You also you can use the website on desktop. You can use the website on mobile. You can even use the website on tab, that's tablet. So a good UI is responsive. It has accessible contract for readability. Have you ever been to a website that allows you to toggle between dark mode and light mode? That is a good UI. For accessibility, you know, accessibility to ensure that the product is is able to use by everyone, regardless of whatever you have. You know, if you have eye defects, you can still make use of that website because it allows you to choose dark mode or light mode, right? So good. I use glasses, I'm short sight, and that is why something that I use to ensure is to ensure that I ensure that I consider people who have defects, could be eye defects, and I consider them a lot when using when building my products. For example, when I'm building websites, it ensures that the font is legible. Do you understand? The font is legible that anybody can read it. So also when you're building your products, when you're building website, ensure that it's accessible to everyone, regardless of your defect. And so that is why you also need to create light mode and dark mode. So I love dark mode a lot. I don't know about you, but I don't know. I love dark mode. So it's always good for you to allow users to customize their products at times themselves. And also, a good UI follow design principles, right? So, a design principle like white space, consistency, spacing, and hierarchy as well. So, example, when you open an Instagram app, the layout, the icons, the colors and buttons, all these things, they are part of the user interface, the UI. Now, let's go to the UX part. That's the user experience. What is UX? User experience. So, user experience is the experience or how the user interacts with your product, how they feel when they interact with your products. It is how a user feel when interacting with the product, as I've said earlier. So it could be a car, it could be a digital product, it could be website, product, how do they feel when they interact? When they are on the mobile app, were they looking for the icons? Were they looking for the buttons, the call to action, or was it easily accessible to them? Do you understand? Do they know how to proceed? When they want to go back, is there a way to go back? Is there a way to proceed, or are they just stuck in the process, right? Like they are confused, they do not know how to navigate. So that is the user experience. So that is the user experience, how users interact with the products. In simple terms, UX is about making sure the product is easy to use, is useful, it's enjoyable, solving the user's problem. So let me give you examples of UX in action. Can users find what they need quickly on your website? Is it easy to complete a form or make a payment? Does the app help the user achieve their goals smoothly? Is the experience frustrating or is it satisfying? So the goal of UX design is to design seamless, meaningful, and user-centered experiences that help users accomplish tasks with ease. Think of UX as your app in a restaurant. So UI is the table, the plate, and the decoration, and US is the dining example, the dining experience, and how the food tastes, how fast it arrives, how friendly the staff are, how easy it is to make payments. So uh US basically is how the journey feels. Were you able to make payment easily? Were you looking for the spoon, or the spoon was already at the dining? You need cutleries. Well, where were the cutleries? Did you have to demand for it? Customer service, how was it? Did they answer well? Or what was the experience? What was the experience like? So that is the user experience. Let's use website as an example again. You're on a website, the UI looks so cute, the UI looks so amazing, the animation is mind-blowing, right? But then when you got on the website, you saw animation at the right, you saw at the left, you saw another animation up, you saw another animation down. You are so confused. Which one should you focus on? Should you look at the animation up, down? That is not a good user experience. Or eventually the animation, let's assume the animation was good, and you need to navigate on. You are seeing and you're seeing example of let's use example of get our product because it is this get our product now. That is the call to action, and you click on this call to action because you want to get the product, and then it is not clickable. You click and it is not clickable. That is a bad user experience. Another example is you are filling a form and you have entered your name, your password, and everything, and you click enter, then it's giving you an error. It's not going. Then what is the error? The error, you don't understand what the error is. You do not know if whatever it is, you don't know what is going on. Or peradventure you are logging in and it's not just going, and it's just there. No, it's not even giving you error. It's not red. It will just stay there. It will not go. You'll be frustrated that you don't know what is going on. There was no communication. that is a bad user experience. So a good UX design, that is user experience design, is easy to navigate. It meets the user needs and expectations. It avoids frustration or confusion. It feels intuitive and satisfying. So um let's use an example of a shopping app. If you find the product, add it to your cart and check in less than 2 minutes. That is a good UX. So if the app is slow, the buttons are confusing, and it crashes at checkout, that's a bad experience, no matter how beautiful it works. So I've been able to differentiate, I've been able to tell you what UI is and what UX is. So when you are saying I want to be a UI UX designer, you already know that you want to be a user interface and user experience designer. And whenever you are in an interview and you're asked you what is UI and what is UX, can you explain it? Because I've gotten that kind of question in an interview before. So I trust that you know how to explain that now. So let's quickly dive into differences between UI and UX. UI is about how things look, while UX is about how things work. Earlier, I gave you an example of a car. I told you that the gear, how the car looks like, the color of the car, right? Those are examples of the UI. But how is the driving experience? Is the brake working? Is the car driving well? How is it going? That is the user experience. Good. So UI focuses on visual design, while UX focus on user journey and usability. The same example, UI focus on visual design. Is it beautiful? Is it nice? While UX focus on the journey and is it useful? Is it usable? That is UX. UI deals with colors, typography, layouts, icons, while UX deals with research, structure, and flow. I've said earlier, UI, color, typography, a website. UX, you have to carry out the user research to do something we call a persona. You can carry out your user research using user research using interview. You can use survey. So in the next part, we're going to be talking about different processes in UI, which are going to learn this user research, persona, user flow, user journey mapping, storyboards, and sitemap, information architecture. You learn all these things in my next video where I'm talking about user experience and user research. So UI is concerned with product appearance, while UX is concerned with the overall experience. I've said that earlier. UI is presentation layer, while UX is interaction and satisfaction layer. UI use tools like Adobe SD, Figma, Sketch, while UX uses tools like user persona, wireframing, user testing, carrying out moderated or unmoderated testing. I've talked about all this earlier. UI is what the user sees, while UX is what user feels and goes through. Just like front end is what you see, while back end is what you receive at the back end, like storing information. That is back end. So just like that, UI is more like is directly proportional to the front end, while UX is directly proportional to the back end, because you're not seeing it, you are feeling, you are experiencing it. The same thing with back end, you are not seeing the information, you are seeing it at the back. The information you have put in the front end, you are seeing it at the back. So we'll just say that UI is a subset of UX design, while UX is broader. It's a broader process. In fact, UX includes UI design. So example of a UX is a beautifully designed app with nice colors and fonts. I've said that. And a bad example of a good example of a UI rather is a beautifully designed app with nice colors and icons, while a bad UX is it's hard to see or takes too long to load. How will you feel when you're on the website and it has been loading for forever? I will definitely leave. I will leave, right? I will leave after loading about 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Why some people don't even have the patience to reload, they leave, right? And imagine you're trying to sell your product to such customers. So a very good UX is very important. It is very important. In as much as UI is important, UX is very important too. Because if you are building a product that is visually appealing, beautiful, and then is useless, it is a big issue. So I trust you that as you are planning to learn UI UX, you also plan to build a product that is not just visually appealing, but a product that is useful and usable. My next class, we're going to be talking about the process of user experience. Thank you for listening. Bye.